Today, I'm revealing 9 steps that rebuild the layer beneath your skin that's been breaking down during menopause and finally smooth cellulite from the inside out. Most women who nail step 5 see visible texture changes within 3 weeks. We're counting down from 9 to the #1 most powerful structural reset of all. Do you know what's happening inside your skin right now? This is very wild. Listen, when estrogen drops during menopause, your body goes into survival mode and it makes a brutal choice. It raids collagen from your skin to protect your bones and organs. A longitudinal study from the University of Vienna tracked postmenopausal women for 15 years. The finding? Skin thickness dropped 2.1% every single year. That's not a slow leak, that's a hemorrhage. This triggers what I call fascia collapse. Your fascia is like saran wrap around your muscles, thick, hydrated, elastic. But when estrogen vanishes, that saran wrap turns brittle, it dries out, gaps form, and the fat underneath? It starts herniating through those gaps like stuffing pushing through a torn pillow. I need you to understand this part. The dimpling on your thighs isn't because you gained weight, it's because the structural layer holding everything smooth just lost its grip. Pre-menopause, you had collagen abundance. Your body was building and repairing that fascia constantly. Post-menopause, you're in collagen scarcity mode. Your body is rationing what little remains. And here's the part that infuriates most women. The creams don't work. They can't. Cellulite creams sit on top of your epidermis, the outermost skin layer. But the fascia network they claim to fix? That lives 3 layers deep. You'd need a cream that penetrates through the epidermis, through the dermis, and into the subcutaneous tissue where the fascia actually exists. No cream on the market does that, not one. So you're left with thinning, brittle fascia that's supposed to hold fat smooth against your muscles, but it can't anymore because estrogen was the architect and the architect abandoned the project. But collagen theft is only the surface. During menopause, cortisol climbs 15 to 20% even when you feel calm. Your adrenal glands are scrambling to compensate for missing estrogen, and cortisol is part of that backup system. But here's the trap. Cortisol doesn't just store fat, it actively shoves fat toward areas with weakened fascia, your thighs, your buttocks, your lower abdomen. The mechanism is ruthless. High cortisol signals fat cells to swell. Those fat cells press harder against brittle connective tissue. And because the fascia is already compromised from estrogen loss, it buckles under the pressure. Fat herniates through the gaps. The orange peel texture deepens. This is the stress cellulite loop. Cortisol weakens fascia, fat pushes through, you notice the change, stress rises, more cortisol floods in, the cycle accelerates. Here's where conventional advice backfires. The standard recommendation is diet. Cut calories, lose 10 pounds, the cellulite will disappear. But calorie restriction spikes cortisol. Researchers at the University of California measured cortisol levels in women on restrictive diets. They jumped 18% within 2 weeks. You're worsening the structural problem while believing you're solving it. Your body reads calorie restriction as a threat. It releases more cortisol to cling to every ounce of stored energy. And that cortisol doesn't deposit fat evenly. It targets the exact zones where fascia is already failing. So you end up with deeper cellulite in the precise spots you wanted to fix. This is the villain escalation. It's not just cortisol, it's cortisol combined with estrogen loss. You've got a thinning structural wall and a hormone actively forcing fat against that wall. The fascia can't hold, the fat breaks through, the dimpling intensifies. But there's a third villain most doctors overlook completely, and it explains why even women who lose weight during menopause still can't escape the cellulite. Step 7. Lymphatic stagnation and toxic pooling. Your lymphatic system is the waste removal network living right beneath your skin. Think of it as your body's garbage truck. It picks up toxins, excess fluid, and metabolic debris. then hauls them out. But during menopause, lymphatic flow slows by 25 to 30%. Your garbage truck is crawling in first gear. Why does this happen? Two reasons. First, lymphatic flow depends on muscle contractions. When you move, your muscles squeeze lymphatic vessels and push fluid forward. But menopause reduces muscle tone. Contractions weaken. The lymph doesn't move efficiently anymore. Second, hormonal shifts attack the smooth muscle cells lining your lymphatic vessels directly. Without estrogen, those cells lose their ability to contract. So now you've got a stagnant system. Toxins and excess fluid pool in the subcutaneous fat layer, the exact layer where cellulite forms. This creates what I call puffy cellulite. It's not just dimpled, it's swollen, inflamed, waterlogged. Here's the hidden danger most people never hear about. Toxins stored in fat cells block fat breakdown. Your body refuses to release toxic fat into the bloodstream because that would poison your organs. So it locks the fat down. It holds it hostage. The more toxins accumulate, the harder that fat becomes to lose. It's not stubbornness, it's protection. This is why you can't simply burn it off with exercise. Movement helps, it stimulates lymphatic flow. But when the lymph isn't draining in the first place, metabolic waste has nowhere to go. You're creating more waste through exercise while the drainage system stays clogged. Toxins recirculate and redeposit in the fat. And here's the false ally that trips up nearly everyone. You start drinking more water because you've heard it helps detoxification. Under normal circumstances, it does, but when your lymphatic system is stagnant, more water without activated drainage just creates more backup. It's like pouring water into a clogged sink. The drain doesn't magically clear, the water rises higher. Your lymph system is the drain. Right now, it's blocked. Pouring more fluid in doesn't fix the blockage. You have to clear the drain first, then the water helps. So now you've got three villains working in concert. Estrogen stole your collagen, thinning the fascia. Cortisol is forcing fat against that weakened wall. And your lymphatic system is stagnant, trapping toxins and fluid in the exact layer where cellulite lives. The fat can't move, the toxins can't leave, the structural wall keeps deteriorating. But it gets worse. Step 6, the collagen synthesis shutdown. Even if you're eating collagen-rich foods, your body might not be able to use them. Collagen synthesis, the process of building new fascia, requires specific cofactors. You need vitamin C, you need zinc, you need copper, you need amino acids in the right ratios. If any of those are missing, production shuts down. Menopause increases nutrient malabsorption by 15 to 20%. Your stomach acid decreases, gut motility slows. Even with a nutrient-dense diet, you're not absorbing those nutrients as efficiently as you once did. You're absorbing less vitamin C, less zinc, less copper than you think. Now here's the invisible villain. Chronic inflammation blocks the enzymes responsible for collagen assembly. Those enzymes are called prolyl hydroxylase and lysyl hydroxylase. Think of them as workers on an assembly line. They're the ones physically connecting collagen fibers into usable fascia. But when inflammation runs high, those workers get sent home. The assembly line stops. What causes chronic inflammation? The same processed foods, seed oils, and high-sugar diets that are standard in modern eating. The body is trying to build new fascia, but raw materials aren't getting through, and the factory floor is shut down. Research from Tufts University found women over 50 need 40% more vitamin C just to maintain baseline collagen production. Not to increase it, just to prevent further decline. Most women aren't even hitting that elevated requirement. This is why bone broth alone doesn't solve the problem. Bone broth delivers amino acids, the building blocks of collagen, but without the cofactors, your body can't assemble those building blocks into functional fascia. It's like having a pile of bricks with no mortar. You can't build a wall with bricks alone. The amplification factor is brutal. Low estrogen plus nutrient deficiency plus chronic inflammation equals a 60% drop in collagen production. Your body is losing collagen faster than it can rebuild. The fascia network is collapsing in real time. So now you've got a body that's stealing collagen from your skin, redistributing fat to vulnerable areas, trapping toxins and stagnant lymph, and shutting down the production line for new fascia. The structural wall isn't just thinning, it's crumbling from multiple angles. But there's a mechanical fix. Step 5. Barefoot proprioception reset. Your feet contain over 200,000 nerve endings. Those nerve endings wire directly into your fascia network. Every time your foot hits the ground, those nerves send signals up through your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, into your core. This is called proprioception, your body's ability to sense where it is in space and adjust tension in the fascia accordingly. But modern shoes are blocking that communication. Conventional footwear compresses your toes, it pads your soles, it prevents those nerve endings from making contact with the ground. And when your feet can't feel, the fascia from your calves to your glutes stays dormant. It doesn't contract, it doesn't realign, it just sits there, loose, unresponsive, asleep. Here's the mechanism that changes everything. When you walk barefoot, pressure receptors in your feet, called mechanoreceptors, get activated. Those receptors fire electrical signals through your nervous system to the fascia. The fascia responds by contracting and tightening. It's like pulling a drawstring on a bag. The whole network cinches up. A clinical trial published in the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies tracked participants through 12 weeks of barefoot training. Fascia elasticity increased 18%. That's not marginal improvement, that's structural transformation. The fascia literally becomes more responsive, more elastic, more capable of holding tension. And here's why this matters for cellulite specifically. When fascia tightens, it smooths out the surface layer of your skin. The fat underneath is still there, but it's no longer herniating through gaps in connective tissue. The saran wrap is pulled taut again. The dimpling reduces, not because fat disappeared, but because the structure holding it changed. The protocol is simple. 10 minutes of barefoot walking or squats daily. No special equipment, no gym required. Just remove your shoes and move. Your feet will start signaling the fascia network. The fascia will start responding, and over time, that dormant tissue will wake up and remember its job. This is mechanical reactivation. You're not adding collagen yet. You're not fixing the hormonal issue. You're just turning the system back on. But once the system is on, the next step becomes possible. If you're enjoying the content, please consider leaving a like. It's a small gesture that helps me reach more women who might be looking for this exact help. I really appreciate it. Step 4. Myofascial release. Mechanical unsticking. Menopause causes fascia to develop adhesions. These are sticky patches where scar tissue forms when fascia gets dehydrated and inflamed. Think of adhesions like glue spots on that saran wrap. The wrap can't move smoothly anymore because it's stuck to itself in random places. Those adhesions trap fat underneath. Fat can't redistribute evenly because the fascia above it is locked in place. So you get pockets of fat pushing up against rigid sections of connective tissue. That's the dimpling. That's the texture you see on your thighs. Foam rolling and fascia tools physically break these adhesions apart. You're applying direct pressure to the stuck areas, forcing them to release. When they release, blood flow to the area increases by 30%. Fresh oxygen and nutrients flood into the tissue. The fascia starts to soften and regain elasticity. The science behind this is called mechanotransduction. Here's what that means in plain language. When you apply pressure to fascia, you trigger fibroblast activity. Fibroblasts are the construction workers of your connective tissue. They build and repair it. Pressure wakes them up. Pressure puts them to work rebuilding. You can use a foam roller, a fascia blaster, or a simple massage ball. The specific tool matters less than consistency. Roll problem areas for 5 to 10 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week.
you're manually smoothing out the fascia layer, breaking up glue spots, allowing fat to redistribute evenly underneath. But here's the double benefit most people miss entirely. Myofascial release doesn't just break adhesions, it also stimulates lymphatic drainage. Remember, lymphatic vessels sit right below the skin. When you roll over them with gentle pressure, you physically push stagnant lymph fluid forward. You're unclogging the drain. So now you're eliminating two villains simultaneously. You're breaking up fascia adhesions that trap fat. You're moving lymphatic waste that's been pooling in that layer. The fat can finally redistribute. The toxins can finally leave. The structural wall begins to smooth. You've loosened the fascia. You've reactivated nerve signals. Now you need to feed the system the right nutrients so it can rebuild.
Step 3. The Phytoestrogen Fascia Tightening Protocol. Certain plants contain compounds that mimic estrogen's collagen-building effects. They're called phytoestrogens. They bind to estrogen receptors in your skin cells, signaling those cells to produce more collagen and elastin. This is the hormonal workaround your body's been waiting for. Flax seeds are the most potent source. They contain lignans, plant compounds that convert into estrogen-like molecules in your gut. A 12-week clinical study at the University of Toronto tracked women consuming 30 grams of ground flax seeds daily. Skin thickness increased 9%. That's not cosmetic improvement, that's structural repair. The dermis is literally getting denser. Here's how the mechanism works. When lignans bind to estrogen receptors in fibroblast cells, those cells resume producing collagen and elastin. It's like flipping a switch that's been off since menopause began. Your body senses estrogen-like activity and starts rebuilding the fascia network. Fermented soy is the second key player. Tempeh and miso contain isoflavones, another class of phytoestrogens. But fermentation is critical. Unfermented soy contains compounds that block nutrient absorption. Fermentation breaks those blockers down and makes isoflavones bioavailable. Your body can actually use them. Red clover is the third piece. It contains 4 different isoflavone types, giving you a broader spectrum of estrogen-like activity. You're not hitting one receptor, you're activating multiple pathways that all lead to collagen synthesis. You might be thinking, why not just use hormone replacement therapy? HRT floods your entire system with synthetic hormones, affecting your breasts, your uterus, your cardiovascular system. Phytoestrogens deliver targeted skin benefits without systemic disruption. You get the collagen-building signal where you need it most, in the fascia layer, without affecting your broader hormonal balance. The protocol is simple enough to remember. Flax and ferment. 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds daily, 1 cup of fermented soy, tempeh or miso. Add red clover tea for an extra boost if you want, but flax and fermented soy alone will start signaling fibroblasts to rebuild. You're feeding the fascia from the inside now. Phytoestrogens are telling your skin cells to produce collagen, but the fascia layer itself needs deep hydration. Dry fascia is brittle fascia. Brittle fascia can't hold tension no matter how much collagen you produce. That's where the next step transforms everything. Step 2. Castor oil and progesterone synergy. Castor oil penetrates deeper than any other oil, and I mean deep. Most oils sit on top of your epidermis and maybe seep into the upper dermis. Castor oil reaches all the way down into the subcutaneous tissue where your fascia lives. The reason is ricinoleic acid, a unique fatty acid structure that acts like a molecular key, unlocking deeper skin layers that other compounds can't access. When castor oil reaches the fascia, it does 3 things simultaneously. First, it hydrates. Fascia needs moisture to stay elastic. Dehydrated fascia is like a dried-out rubber band. It snaps instead of stretching. Castor oil locks moisture into that tissue, making it pliable again. Second, it reduces inflammation. Ricinoleic acid is a potent anti-inflammatory compound.
It calms the chronic inflammation that's been blocking collagen synthesis. Your fascia can finally start repairing without constant interference from inflammatory signals. Third, it softens scar tissue. Remember those adhesions, the glue spots on your fascia? Castor oil penetrates into the stuck areas and loosens the bonds holding them together. Over time, adhesions dissolve. The fascia regains smooth movement. But here's where the real power emerges. When you layer progesterone cream on top of castor oil, absorption increases by 40%. The castor oil creates a pathway into deeper tissue, and the progesterone rides that pathway straight to the fascia layer. Progesterone signals skin cells to retain moisture and accelerate collagen production. It's the second hormonal signal your fascia needs. Phytoestrogens told your fibroblasts to start building. Progesterone tells them to build faster and hold on to the hydration they need to stay functional. Research published in the British Journal of Dermatology found topical progesterone increases dermal thickness by 12% in just 8 weeks. That's on top of the 9% from flax seeds. You're stacking structural improvements. Skin thickens, fascia strengthens, dimpling smooths because connective tissue can finally maintain tension again. The protocol? Oil first, cream second, massage deep. Apply castor oil to problem areas, thighs, buttocks, lower abdomen. Layer progesterone cream on top. Massage for 3 to 5 minutes to push both compounds deeper into tissue. Do this nightly. You're hydrating fascia, reducing inflammation, and triggering collagen production simultaneously. The structural wall is rebuilding. But there's one final step that accelerates everything.
Step 1. The Autophagy fasting window. Autophagy is your body's cellular cleanup system. Think of it as a renovation crew that tears out old, damaged drywall before installing new walls. It removes damaged skin cells, broken down fascia fragments, and metabolic waste that's been accumulating in your tissues. You can't rebuild on top of debris. You have to clear it first. Fasting for 16 to 18 hours triggers autophagy, but it does something else. It spikes growth hormone. Growth hormone is the master signal for collagen production. It tells your fibroblasts to shift into overdrive, building new fascia faster than your body has managed in years. A clinical study from the Intermountain Medical Center tracked women practicing intermittent fasting over 12 weeks. Skin elasticity increased 14%. That's a measurable structural shift. Fascia becomes more responsive, more elastic, more capable of holding the smooth tension that eliminates cellulite. Here's the mechanism driving this transformation. When you stop eating, insulin drops. Low insulin signals your body to release growth hormone. Growth hormone floods into your bloodstream and travels to skin cells, where it activates the fibroblast construction workers. Those workers start pulling amino acids, vitamin C, zinc, and copper from your bloodstream and assembling them into new collagen fibers. This is why fasting is the final step. You've already broken up adhesions with myofascial release. You've reactivated the fascia network with barefoot movement. You've fed it phytoestrogens and hydrated it with castor oil and progesterone. Now you're triggering the renewal signal. You're telling your body to clear out old, damaged fascia and replace it with new functional tissue. The protocol: fast 16, eat 8, repeat. A 16-hour fasting window 3 to 5 times per week. Eat during an 8-hour window and fast for the remaining 16 hours. If you're still menstruating, adjust based on your cycle. Fast more during the follicular phase. Ease up during the luteal phase when progesterone naturally rises. But here's the critical warning. Don't combine extended fasting with calorie restriction. Remember, calorie restriction spikes cortisol. Cortisol is the villain that forces fat toward weak fascia areas. You're trying to reduce cortisol, not amplify it. Eat enough during your eating window. You're fasting for autophagy and growth hormone, not for weight loss. When this protocol clicks into place, your body enters a repair state. Damaged fascia gets cleared out, fibroblasts start building new connective tissue, the structural wall that's been collapsing for years finally starts to rebuild.
Click on this video now to access our menopause playlist. We cover everything you need to know: exercises, diet plans, supplements, and more. Don't miss out. If you find this video valuable, please give a like. By doing this, YouTube will show this video to more women who might benefit from it, allowing you to help others as well. Thank you.